Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a book that I read a while ago called The Host by Stephenie Meyer. Now Stephenie Meyer is an American novelist who burst onto the scene with the occult classic, The Twilight Saga. I read The Twilight Saga and I absolutely loved them, but The Host is her book. It's a standalone novel that she's written back in 2008, and I've read that book a number of times. The Host is the book that I would call my in-between reads book. So they're usually like certain books that I enjoy so much that whilst I'm trying to make up my mind of what I'm going to read next, or if I've read a particularly heavy book and I need to kind of detox from that book, then I'd read an in-between book, and The Host is one of them, and that's why I've read it so many times. So I'll start off once again by reading you a bit of the plot and then go on to tell you what I like about the book and what I like about the characters. So, shall we begin? A species of parasitic aliens called the Souls have invaded Earth, deeming the humans too violent to deserve the planet. When a soul is implanted into a host body, the consciousness of the original owner is erased, leaving their memories and knowledge. Wanderer, a soul, is placed into the body of Melanie Strider. However, Melanie's consciousness is still alive and begins to communicate with Wanderer mentally. Wanderer's assigned seeker suggests that she should find a way to remove Melanie through surgery, but Wanderer makes several attempts to deny her seeker's wishes. As Wanderer starts to uncover some of Melanie's memories of her younger brother, Jamie Strider, and her boyfriend, Jared Howie, Melanie gets her to follow a series of landmarks throughout the Arizona desert to find her Uncle Jeb, hoping that Jared and Jamie are with him. By doing so, she would be denying the seeker's ability to get Melanie out of her mind. When Jeb comes across Melanie's dying body, he realizes what's happened to her, but still leads her to his hideout, a network of caves housing more than 30 people. Most of the other humans want her to be killed, with the exception of Jared and Jamie, and later on Ian Hushey, who begins to develop feelings for Wanderer. Now I'm going to stop there because I don't want to give too much of the plot away. Essentially, you get the idea. It's a post-apocalyptic tale in a dystopian universe where the human race is slowly being wiped out by some alien invaders called the Souls. And the Souls are basically, they literally are what is described, a parasite that is implanted into the brain of the human, and then they take over. It's kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers meets some kind of twisted romance story. However, what you do get is the perspective of the human race from an alien, and you get to kind of fall in love with Wanderer as a character, and also with Melanie Strider, who you're kind of rooting for because she is after all human, and you don't want her to kind of vanish into the abyss of Wanderer's mind. And also you kind of don't want the aliens to win, but in the same sense you want Wanda to win because you know her intentions are good and pure, and she didn't come onto the planet thinking that she was going to essentially kill anybody. The aliens don't want the humans taking over. There is a sense of a chase that goes on where the seeker is the baddie, so to speak, in the book, because she really wants to catch Wanderer and eject Melanie from her mind and essentially save Wanderer the soul. Also, you get drawn into the characters that live in the cave with her Uncle Jeb. I did fall in love with Jeb completely. He was one of my favorite characters. I liked his quirkiness. I liked his curiosity. He comes across as one of those characters that is kind of like those disaster theorists, you know, those guys that kind of stockpile tins of food, and they think the world is going to end any day now, and you're like, what a weirdo, but he was actually right. And I ended up falling in love with Jeb because he is a curious human being, and he's long suspected that the human mind wouldn't disappear simply because the soul has been implanted. So he's basically trying to find a way to save the human race, and he wants to confirm his theory that it is possible to go on living even though the soul has been implanted in your mind. And then you also discover Melanie's brother Jamie, who is a young man or young boy who's basically been thrown into this world that is no longer the world he knows and loves, and he's already lost his parents. He thinks he's lost his sister, only to discover that she might still be alive. And then he also is making a friend in Wanderer, and it's kind of warring with his emotions because he wants his sister back, but at the same time he doesn't want to lose his friend. And you get Melanie's boyfriend Jared, who basically just wants Melanie back at all costs, but can't deny that Wanderer is an individual that is not necessarily bad, because the humans are learning more about the souls, and the soul is also learning more about the humans. And there is this kind of desire to discover if there's a way that humans and souls could coexist together, and you kind of get transported into that kind of journey as well with them. There are also other characters like Ian O'Shea, because there's a long love triangle that goes on between Jared and Ian, and you don't know who you want to win, because one's in love with Melanie and one's in love with Wanderer, but they both inhabit the same body, and then you're not sure whether they're in love with the body or the soul, or the mind, or chi, or whatever you want to call it, that exists within the body. So that's also an interesting dynamic, but it's a very nice, easy, comfortable read. It's something that you can get through in a couple of days. It's not complex, because the planet is still essentially Earth. You're not trying to learn about a new world, and your brain is not grappling with the complexities that come along with learning new world or an alternate reality, and so on and so forth. And I am aware that there's a movie adaptation of the novel. The movie does not do it justice, and the movie, as far as I'm concerned, was complete rubbish. I would not recommend the movie. I would recommend the book, and I would kind of encourage you to give the book a chance, because even if you have seen the movie, because the movie really didn't do it justice at all. It was one of those kind of, I think they thought they latched onto a winning formula with the Twilight Saga, and they wanted to continue it with the Host, and then they made a movie, and it just kind of panned. I enjoyed the Host so much that I was kind of hoping that Stephenie Meyer would make a sequel to the Host, and I waited and waited and waited, and it just never came. I don't know why that is, but as a standalone novel, it was very interesting. But there was a cliffhanger at the end of the book that led me to believe that there was going to be a sequel. So hopefully at some point in the future, Stephenie Meyer will grace us with a sequel. I thought that when there were rumors that there was the new book that was going to be released this year, I kind of thought it would be the sequel to The Host, but it was The Chemist, which is a book that I'll review in another video. But I highly, highly recommend The Host. I think you guys will enjoy it if you're into science fiction, or if you want to start getting into science fiction, but want a nice, easy, gentle introduction into science fiction. And if also you're a fan of Stephenie Meyer, I think you'll enjoy this book. But do not go into this book as a fan of Stephenie Meyer expecting something like Twilight, because you're just not going to get that. It's a completely different experience to Twilight, but it did not disappoint. So I hope you find this review helpful, and let me know your thoughts on The Host if you've read it. If you've read similar books to The Host, let me know what you think, and hopefully we'll be able to have a nice, healthy dialogue. I hope you guys kind of enjoyed my synopsis of the book, basically. I don't want to tell you so much about the book that you won't want to read it yourselves, because that would kind of like beside the point. I mean, the point is that I want to kind of encourage you guys to read books that I like. So I will just literally just give you a snapshot, and then let you know a little bit of what I think about some of the characters, and give you enough to whet your appetite, but not so much that you think, well, she's done told us everything now. What's the point of me reading the book? I'm sorry if this video is a bit fast. Like I said, this is a learning and growing channel, so hopefully we will, get better as time goes on. I'll kind of get a better sense of what you guys want in my reviews, and you'll kind of get a better understanding of the way I do my review. So that's it with The Host. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.